Last week, I bought my first apartment. The previous tenant had apparently gone crazy and tried to set the building on fire. His family wanted nothing more to do with him, so they put the apartment on the market at a fraction of the price. It came almost fully furnished. Although most of the furniture felt dated, I wasn't going to complain about free stuff. The real estate agent had said the family wished to get rid of everything as quickly as humanly possible, so I snapped up everything. I guess you could say it was one of those moments where you are in the right place at the right time. Or so I thought. Initially, I felt very proud of myself. I'm still a couple of months shy of 30, and having bought my first apartment felt like I was finally getting my life in order. I spent the first day at my new home roaming around the rooms, deciding what I wanted to keep and what could be thrown away. The last room I inspected was the bedroom. A double bed took up most of the area. A small nightstand stood next to the left side of the bed, the side facing the door, and an old wooden paneled dresser aligned on the far side of the room. I slumped down on the bed. Its frame welcomed me with a tiny groan. I turned towards the nightstand and pulled at an only drawer it contained. It wouldn't budge. There was no keyhole, so it couldn't be closed. I applied some more pressure until I felt the drawer slowly inch open. The wood creaked under the pressure before abruptly shooting out of its hinges. A mountain of paper spilled onto the floor around me. I picked up the first sheet. The same 5 words had been hastily penned on every line. Do not open your eyes. I picked up another sheet. The same hurried handwriting, the same words. I picked up the sheets of paper one by one. All contained the same message. Do not open your eyes. Do not open your eyes. Do not open your eyes. The words had been written frantically, as if the author had attempted to carve his words through the sheet. I did not think much of it, to be honest. I knew the previous tenant had been a little crazy. This must have been one of those things he did. I collected all the sheets and threw them away. Around midnight, I was getting ready to go to bed. The prospect of spending my first night in my own apartment excited me. I walked down the narrow corridor towards the bedroom while turning off the lights. Some white light seeped through the front door from outside, vaguely illuminating the shadows. I got to my bedroom and turned the light out in the hall. That's when I saw it, standing at the other end of the corridor, a shape. I immediately switched the light back on. It was gone. When I switched the light back off, the shape appeared once more. Its features were hidden in the shadows, but I thought I recognized the contour of a woman. Hello? No answer. I turned the light back on. She was gone. At that point, my head began to pound and I felt my heart rate rise. I was scared, but clearly I was the only person in the apartment. I switched off the light in the corridor, and without looking back, I shut the door to my bedroom and fell onto the bed. I was exhausted and probably imagining things. Before long, the traffic outside began to lull me to sleep. That's when I heard shuffling. Soft footsteps crept towards my bedroom door. I jumped out of bed, grabbed my baseball bat, and swung the door open. There she stood, a shadow now halfway down the corridor. I turned the lights on and she was gone. My head began to spin. This was impossible. I thought I was going crazy. I left the light on in the corridor and went back to bed. I could not fall asleep. My body was shivering. I closed my eyes and tried to calm down. That's when the footsteps returned. I heard her drawing closer. This is not possible, I kept repeating to myself. It's just not possible. The footsteps stopped directly outside my door. I pressed my eyes closed with as much force as I could muster. This had to be a dream. I tried to stop the tears from forming in my eyes as I hid completely under the blanket. Everything seemed to calm down. I sighed as my heartbeat returned to normal. All of a sudden, the door blew open and the footsteps burst towards me. I shrieked as something ripped the blanket from my grasp. Please, I whimpered as I lay shivering in my bed. My eyes still closed. What do you want? There was a silence. I could not hear anything. I could feel her presence before me, but she remained completely silent. For a moment I contemplated opening my eyes, but something stopped me from doing so. All I could think about were the words, "Do not open your eyes," scribbled on the sheets of paper I had thrown away earlier. I lay in my bed with my eyes closed for what felt like an eternity. Then I heard her lean over me. "Open your eyes," she whispered. Her voice was beautiful. "Open your eyes," she kept on repeating as if in song. She sounded so pure and welcoming, like a siren beckoning me to its ravenous shore. I felt intoxicated. Her words enthralled me. I could feel my eyelids begin to part. "No," I yelled while pressing a pillow against my face. "Go away." "Open your eyes," she continued. I remained motionless with fear, my face pressed into the pillow. Suddenly her voice grew louder, her words no longer a whisper. The rise was gradual until finally she yelled the words with such force every atom in the room seemed to tremble with anticipation. Then it was done. She was gone. The birds began to chirp outside, and I felt rays of sun seep through the curtain. It was morning. This has been going on for days now. Every night is worse than the last. I feel as if the last week has aged me well beyond my years. There is something about her voice. It's almost enchanting. Every night her words cut deeper into me. I can feel my mind waning, ready to give her what she wants. My determination to keep my eyes closed is slowly eroding away, together with what's left of my sanity. I don't know who to call for help. I don't know who will believe me. Then yesterday, I did something stupid. She stood in the corridor after I turned off the lights. Tears streamed down my face. "Please," I pleaded. "Go away." She stood motionless. I turned the light on. She was gone. I couldn't refrain myself from switching the lights back off. She now stood halfway down the corridor, covered in the darkness. I flicked the lights back on almost immediately. "Go away!" I yelled into the empty hallway. My body felt tense. My eyes darted along the corridor. Suddenly, the absurdity of it all hit me. I began to laugh. Maniacal laughter escaped my lips as I walked into my bedroom, leaving the door open. She would follow. Soon enough, she began her song of whispers, then began the shouting. "Open your eyes! Open your eyes! Open your eyes!" I could not stand it anymore. The words tore me apart. Before I was completely aware of what I was doing, I opened my eyes. That was a mistake. Her face hung straight above mine. I peered into her eyes. I do not have the talent to put to words what I saw there, but I will try. Her gaze was barren, her eyes deep pools of black. They radiated an all-consuming emptiness. Her gaze felt like a prison, an eternal abyss harboring the countless souls that came before me. I could feel them. I could hear them wailing from the darkness, destined to wander the abyss within her eyes in perpetuity. The emptiness burrowed itself into me like a worm in a rotten apple. I felt it eat away at me. I felt it grasp my soul. A almost serene sense of hopelessness spread through me. I felt like every shed of happiness was torn out of me. She slowly reached her hand out towards my heart. I cried out in fear as her fingernails began to pierce my chest. Then the doorbell rang. I fell to the floor. She was gone. I remained on the floor unable to move. All I could do was take short, haggard breaths. I was drenched in sweat. The doorbell rang again. I hurried to the front door and opened. An agitated older woman stood before me. She was a neighbor of mine. "Sorry, but do you mind being more quiet?" I threw my arms around her. "Thank you," I whispered. "What?" I turned around towards the corridor. It was deserted. I began to laugh hysterically. The old lady pushed herself away from me. "You were as crazy as he was." "Who?" "The previous owner. They took him to the asylum, didn't they?" I fell silent. "Are you saying he's still alive?" "Yes." I grabbed my keys and wallet and stormed past the old lady without saying a word. The sun was rising as I entered the asylum. At the front desk, I slipped a 50 note in the pocket of the clerk for the right room number and 5 minutes alone. Once past the front desk, the few people up and about hardly took notice of me. I got the distinct feeling that they thought I belonged there. Once I found the right door, I went inside. An old man sat at the window. He looked up as I entered, but barely seemed to register I was there at all. He began to mutter to himself. Hello? I said sheepishly. The old man continued muttering. I bought your apartment. The old man turned his back on me. I walked over to him and bent forward in an attempt to discern meaning to his muttering. My insides froze when I recognized the words. Do not open your eyes. The old man kept on muttering it over and over. I felt shell-shocked. I could barely think anymore. I opened my eyes. I suddenly blurted out. The muttering stopped. The old man looked at me as if only now seeing me. The eyes are the windows to the soul, the old man mumbled. Did you look into her eyes? Yes. Then you belong to her now. What can I do? You looked. I told everyone to keep their eyes closed. You belong to her now. She will find you wherever you go. Tonight, you pay the price. What? Why me? How can I escape her? There is no escape. She is coming. Help me. She is coming, the old man muttered. I grabbed his shoulder. Tell me what to do. She is coming. The old man began to yell over and over again. I staggered back. The old man looked insane. I managed to slip out of the room before the order line stormed in. That was this morning. I'm back at the apartment now, waiting. I'm standing in front of the mirror with a straight razor in my hand. I can sense the truth in the old man's words. There is no escaping her. I can feel it. We are connected somehow. The sun will set soon. She is coming for me. Next time I gaze into her eyes, I will be lost forever. There is no escape. I won't be able to resist her song. The razor weighs heavy in my hand. Unless, of course, I can stop her from looking into my eyes. However, I don't think I have the courage to go through with it. Please, help me.